Okay, welcome everybody to our 54th GLC webinar, the ROI and ROE of Finance Training, Proving Your Impact. We are very excited to have you all here. And before we begin, I would like to tell you that this free webinar was brought to you by the IFC Grow Learn Connect program in collaboration with the government of Luxembourg. And I would also like to remind you that this session is recorded. You will be able to access the recording on our website shortly, as well as the recording of all the other webinars that we had conducted in the past. And please make sure you know that this session is not only recorded, but you can participate in it as well by raising your hand virtually, and we will unmute you. Also, please type in chat if you have any comments or would like to share your thoughts. Make sure you select type to everyone, and not just particular participants. Sandra, are you connected? Are you with us?
Yes, Julia, I'm here.
Okay. I need to make myself a presenter here, though. I can go through the slides. I would like to mention the upcoming opportunities that are happening on the GLC community. The first is Sandra Ihenacho, who is the presenter of today's webinar, will be conducting another webinar in September. So please tune in September if you would like to learn more about ensuring engagement and application, driving training, transfer effectiveness in finance training. You can scan a QR code on your screen, or you can visit our website and go to the events page to find out more. If you are interested in facilitating learning online and in-person training, there is an exciting opportunity coming up. Two of our master trainers, Shilpa Vasavada and Pratima Buttarpuri, are joining forces together. They will be conducting this training starting in September 6th, and it will run through October 1st. In the end of the training, you will be able to receive IFC LPI TPMA certification if you choose to proceed with that. If you are interested in becoming a certified coach, we have two exciting opportunities lined up for you. ICF Level 1 coach certification started on June 9th and will run through November 17th. If you're still interested in joining these two cohorts on Mondays and Sundays, please reach out to Adaora Ayoade. You can find this training on our website in the events section, or you can scan the QR code. The ACF Level 2 Coach certification, which is advanced certification program, will start in June 21st and run through November 1st. And you can reach out to Adaora Ayoade as well to find out more about this training. Another very unique opportunity to join in person in Lagos, Nigeria. There will be an ITech International Training Transfer Effectiveness Conference that will run in Lagos, Nigeria on November 13th and 14th of 2025. And the mission of this conference is bridge the gap between training and lasting impact. We invite you to join the conference. You can learn more by scanning the QR code on your screen, or by going to our website to the events section, or going directly to the ITech conference at www.ittteconference.com. And I'm very excited to welcome Sandra Ihenacho. She is our beloved master trainer. She conducted multiple webinars for us already, sharing her unique experience and background. And we love having Sandra. She's an IFC certified master trainer. She's Nigeria's first certified transfer designer, certified transformational coach, team and group coach, Kirkpatrick certified professional bronze level, our Oracle. Sandra, welcome.
Thank you so much, Julia. Thank you very much. Let me share my slides now. Just permit me to do that. Okay. I want to believe you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. Thank you so much, Julia. So good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you may be signing in to watch this webinar. It's a pleasure being with you today. Thank you, Julia, for inviting me. And for all those that have joined in and signed in, it's a pleasure being with you. Thank you for joining in. And so sometimes I may have to, because of my network connectivity, I may turn off the video if that's okay with you. So from time to time, I just turn off the video to ensure that we have good network. And so today I'll be talking about so this is like more like a build up. So in February, we started talking about the ROI and ROE of training. We did that in February, one of the webinars I did in February, then to this one, then following up, we're crowning it up on the one in September, if I'm not mistaken. Julia just talked about it now. So today we're looking at the return on investment and return on expectation of finance training, proving your impact. Now, even if you're not a finance trainer, that doesn't mean that whatever I will be speaking about or talking about here, you cannot use it. No, I decided this year to focus more on the GLC webinars, to focus more on the finance trainers. If you ask me why, I don't know why. I think, or maybe because we have more of them here. So I decided to focus more on them this year. However, just like I said, that doesn't stop any other person, even though you're not a finance trainer, you're a trainer in one way or the other, or you're an employee, you're an L&D HR, you would learn, you would gain from this, right? So just like Julia said, so my name is Sandra Ihenacho, aka the Oracle. I'm Africa's leading voice on training transfer effectiveness. So in Africa, I am the one advocating for that every training must have return on investment and return on expectation. Is it possible? Yes. Have I seen it happen? Yes. Countless times, and it will keep happening. Just that what needs to be done has to be done. So let's move forward. So welcome. So glad you are here. I'm glad to see that you're here. Now we're going to be looking at this. Today's roadmap, what we will explore. What are you going to walk away with today? What are you going to walk away with today? What's my thought and what are your thoughts? What do I want you to start thinking about? Because this is a webinar of mind shifting, mindset. You shift your mindset and start thinking and seeing all your training, seeing how you can create return on investment and return on expectation for every of your training initiative. So this webinar is more of a strategic session to shift your mindset. Shift your mindset from how it's not possible to, because I've spoken to a lot of trainers, a lot of HR L&Ds, and that's why I created a program which I'll talk about later. And they are struggling to show ROI and ROE of their training initiative. Some say it's very difficult. How do they go about it? Some talk about, so they come up with various issues, right? So this is a webinar strategically to shift your mindset Whatever tools you had before, for those that have been showing it or those that are showing it, to sharpen those tools for you, and also to strengthen how do you report for those that have been doing it. Maybe we'll be having that conversation. How do you give a report to management after a training and you're trying to give your training impact report? What is it there? Is it a 10-pager you're giving, a 5-pager, a 15-pager? There's no time. Management doesn't have time for that. You give an executive summary. A 1-pager is fine. So this is what I would also like to do in this webinar. So what's our roadmap? What do I hope to cover? What's the roadmap today? We're going to be looking at why finance training often struggles to prove its value. Not just finance training. So just like I said, even if you're not in finance, how whichever training you are you a leadership? Are you into leadership training? Are you into soft skills training? Whatever kind of training you're doing, why do you often struggle to prove your value? Why do you often struggle to prove the value, to show management? Because when it comes to cutting the budget, what does management do? Straight up, they go to the training budget. Why should that happen? There are organizations that management don't dare touch the training budget. Why? Because they've been able to show value. So how can you prove the value for every training initiative you go into? We're going to also be looking at ROI versus ROE. So for those that may be joining in again, so ROI stands for return on investment, ROE stands for return on expectation. What do they mean in finance training and any other training you're doing? What do they mean? We're also going to be looking at 2 frameworks. So there are various frameworks and models out there. You agree with me? If you're great in researching, if you're a a lover of research like I do, if you're someone that you're voracious about learning, you know that out there are so many frameworks and models. So choose what works for you. So for myself, I'm going to be sharing the frameworks and model that work for me and I've been using that are wonderful. So I'm going to show you out of all those frameworks, I'm going to be showing 2 frameworks and a model that will guide you to show real world impact. I've used it, I'm using it, and I'll continue to use it with my clients. I'm going to be sharing that with you. Again, we're going to be looking at some metrics and tools that tell the right story. You need to know what are those metrics that will give the right story, that will tell the stories about your training initiative. We're going to be looking at that. We're also going to be looking, how do you design, track, and communicate ROI and ROE? How are you able to design it, track it, and communicate it? It's very, very key. We're going to be looking at that. And last but not the least, we're going to be having a Q&A. So I'm going to try to move a bit. I'm going to try to ensure that I finish what I'm supposed to do and give enough time for questions, because I noticed that because a lot of persons are so interested on return on investment and return of expectations of training, we tend to not have enough time for questions. So I'm going to run through what I have, because you're also going to get the slides. Yulia is going to send it to you. I'll run through what I have and create enough time, at least 20 minutes, if possible more, for questions. And I mean live questions, the challenges you're going through, from everything you're going to be listening to me say. I want you to come up with those questions, those tough questions, those difficult questions, those questions that are making you to have sleepless nights, those questions that are making you not to have a seat at the table, for those that are professionals that work in the organization. So I will create such opportunity to have those questions, to answer those questions. So just a bit about me. Yulia has already spoken about me. I'm Africa's leading voice on training transfer effectiveness. Africa's leading voice means I'm the one crying out, saying every training must show ROI and ROE. Yes, that's who I am. In Africa, I am shouting and crying it out that this is what it should be. I'm also known as the CEO of M Brand Consulting Limited, a human capital development organization that is highly interested on return on investment, return on expectation for every service we deliver. Then I'm also the creator of 2 models. So those 2 models, I'm going to be sharing one with you, which we use with clients. We call it the needs validation process model. That is a model that shows you, that's able to diagnose if a performance gap is a training solution, a non-training intervention, or a hybrid of it. Then I'll also be sharing with you the PDP model. I'm the one that created those 2 models. Then I'm also the pioneer of the TTE movement across Africa. So when you hear TTE, it means training transfer effectiveness. Yes. So I'm the pioneer of the movement across Africa. And we are trying to go into organizations, countries. I came back from Ghana last week, Monday, on this. In Lagos, we are going to be talking about this next week, Friday. Next, in July, I go to Rwanda, Kenya. In September, I should be in Zimbabwe and Tanzania. So we're trying to go around nations in Africa, creating that awareness about training transfer effectiveness. So if you stay in any of these countries, please reach out to me. I will drop my email. Okay, you'll see my email and my phone number. Reach out to me and let's see how we can create the awareness in your country and start building communities there. I want to share a hard truth with you. Yeah. So pardon me, I'm trying to use two systems so that if I'm because I don't tend to see you people and see your chat messages when I'm with the system I'm projecting with. So when you see me looking the other way, just know I'm looking at the other system to ensure that I'm not missing out on anything. Now, what is the hard truth I want to share with you? This is what I want to share with you. Training is not a one-time event. It's so painful. Yes, and I mean painful. It's so painful that a lot of individuals, a lot of organizations take training as a one-time event. A tick in the box. Let's just do it and it's over. And does not bring any result. That does not bring any impact. That does not add to the bottom line. That does not increase your revenue. That does not help meet the expectations of management. But that's the hard truth. That's what it is. Take sampling. I took there was an Harvard, no, not Harvard, a review by LinkedIn in 2024 on when they did a survey on and I think I also have that report too. They did a survey on training transfer, the effectiveness of training, and they found that out of the organizations that they surveyed, only 20% could say that after training they applied what they learned. That means a whooping sum of 80% did not apply. Why? Because they've seen training as a one-time event. But training is not a one-time event. Rather, training is a strategic investment. And it is designed to do what? To drive measurable performance outcomes. It's a strategic investment. And that's why I said training is in the CEO's radar. Training is a KPI of the CEO, not just the HR or the L&D. Because training is supposed to increase the bottom line. And who is in charge of the bottom line when the CEO goes to the boardroom, to the board? Like for myself, for my company, when I go for board meetings, the board, these are my board members, and they are firing me up and down. I'm like, you know, but that's not what it is. And they're asking questions. So training is the CEO's KPI, not just the L&D or the HR. So it's a strategic investment designed to drive measurable performance outcomes. But without a focus on transfer, take note of that. Without a focus on transfer, and I'm going to say sustained transfer, even the best designed training becomes training scrap. Becomes a waste of time, a waste of effort, a waste of money, and a waste of resources. And that's a hard truth. So a lot of organizations, the training they do has turned into training scrap. Why? Because they've been seeing training as a one-time event. But I've come here today to change your mindset on that. Saying there's no more. We're not going to do that again. If you decide, well, it's a decision today that I don't want to treat training as a one-time event again. I want to intentionally, deliberately, and consistently prove the return on investment and ROE of training. Then, if you're such a person here with me, then we are ready to go ahead. We'll do it together. And I will show you within this few time that we have to spend together, I will show you how you can do that. So let's find out who is in the room. Let's find out who is in the room. Let me stop this now first and say, who is in the room? Let's find out who is in the room. Please, do you want to type into chat? Permit me now, I'm going to have to stop my video, please. Who is in the room, please? Tell us where your role. Tell us your name, your role, and when you're signing in. I would love to know who is in the room. I'd love to know who is in the room. So I'm going to be looking at the chat box. Who is in the room? I'm going to be looking at the chat box. Yeah. Okay. Octavia lives in South Africa. I'm ILO SIYB trainer. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Octavia. Shalika from Sri Lanka. Can you also drop your roles? What's your roles? Voucher from Ethiopia. Finance and management consultant from Sri Lanka. Okay, great. So drop your roles because that would also guide me. Do we have just finance people here, or do we have HR? Do you have L&D? Do you have entrepreneurs? So just drop into chat. Sorry, excuse me. Who is in the room? Opal from Finance and Management Consultant from Sri Lanka. Okay, thank you, Opal. Okay, continue. Let it keep coming so that I can just continue. Okay, we have Nana, Strategy and Core Competence Trainer UK. Welcome, Nana. Okay. Awena, IFC Financial Institution Group Africa. Veronica from Indonesia, Gender Consultant. Awesome. Please keep it coming. I will read it later. Just keep it coming so we can move forward. Keep it coming. Okay. What are our objectives for today? So we have Lillian, Finance Trainer. Ahmed, Lecturer of SMEs. Okay. National Institute of Banking and Finance. So I think we have lots of finance people here. Okay. IFC Trainer. Awesome. Guri. Thank you so much. So what are our objectives for today? By the end of this webinar, you should be able to explain the importance of ROI and ROE in demonstrating the impact of finance training. You should be able to identify metrics and tools to measure both financial and expectation-based returns. You should be able to apply the model I'm going to show you today and the frameworks, which some of you may know already. You should be able to apply the model and the frameworks to design and evaluate finance training programs. Then you should be able to create a training impact report that resonates with organizational leaders. So are you a trainer? Are you working in the organization? You should be able to tell. So if you're working in the organization, you should be able to show your finance, your management. This is the impact report for the training we underwent, right? Then if you're a trainer, you should be able to have that discussion with the clients you're working with and be able to show them the impact report that will resonate with them, what they want to say. You should be able to do that. Now, what are the interactive elements I'll be using for this training? To ensure the session is practical and engaging, I'll be using polls, which I've already started using when I asked you to put that. I'll be using polls, and I'm going to be using the chat box for the polls. I'll also be using reflections. I want you to reflect. So sometimes when I ask a question and I pause, don't think I'm not here again. So I'm just notifying you, I'm here with you. Rather, I want you to reflect. I'll be using Q&A, and the Q&A questions and answers that will guide the discussion. Then the next line of action. So you will leave here with a clear step that you can take immediately after today's training. Now let's go to the big question. Yeah. The big question. What is that big question? What did your last finance training actually achieve? And I'm going to be looking at the chat box. Now, for those that are not finance trainer, the last training okay, so let me ask it this way. And I want you to just listen attentively, and I want you to really think about this before you answer. What did your last training, finance training, actually achieve? For those who are into finance training, if you're not into a finance training, any other training you did, what did it actually achieve? Was it just attended? Did it transform behavior? What did you see? What was the outcome after the training? What was the outcome after the training? Please type into chat box. What was the outcome after the training? Some participants were able to beautifully assist with explaining costing. Okay. That's from Octavia. So, Octavia, let me, if you don't mind, let me take you up on that. Okay, I don't know if, okay, let me just answer that instead of taking you up on that. So what you just said, Octavia, is what we call in the levels of evaluation, that is level 2. That is level 2. They had knowledge, which is what I'm going to be sharing with you people. So level 1 and level 2 cannot give us the ROI and ROE we want. But it's great that you've even started from there. So that's level 2. So who else? Who else? Analysis, even business break even analysis understanding. Okay, that's from Meshach. So Meshach, when you say understanding, we cannot measure understanding. What does that mean? You can't measure understanding. So what does that mean? Do you want to break it down? Do you want to think about it again and break it down again? What exactly? Then Leslie says choice of project based on expected returns. So at the end, they were able to choose the right project they needed based on expected returns. That is again knowledge, level 2. So were you able to get to level 3? Okay, I'm sure. Okay, let me move ahead. Maybe you may not understand what level 3 and level 4 is. Maybe by the time I explain that, you understand, you think about this again. I trained finance for non-finance persons. Okay, this is Negato. And what did you see? When you did that, what did you see? So let's keep it coming so you can see what I'm sharing this with you. So I need you to reflect deeply, because what I'm seeing in the chat box is level 1 and level 2 information. Level 1 and level 2 information will not give you the return on investment and return on expectation you want for that training initiative. It's not enough to have level 1 and level 2. You must take it higher. So Nana says they got more specific understanding of company issues and practical applications. Thank you for that, Nana. However, understanding cannot be measured. Would you want to break it down and say what exactly, when you say understanding, what do you mean? Then I see Lillian. Lillian says change in behavior. Awesome. So can you quantify that change in behavior? What was the behavior before and what was the change? So let's go ahead. Let's continue. So I'm sure you have your understanding now. You have a gist of what I'm talking about. So what I found out is that a lot of people, trainers, even organizations, they have training. The training is well attended, but did it transform behavior? They cannot tell you. And it did not transform behavior, because transform behavior is what leads to ROI and ROE. Transfer, there must be a transfer. Transfer means application, and training transfer effectiveness means sustained application over time. They must be keep applying that. So for those that did finance training, did it reduce errors in reporting? Can you really say that, okay, in this training I did a training in finance, they came with an objective, they wanted to reduce the errors in reporting, and after that, if their errors were like 20%, it came down to 10%. So there was a reduced errors in reporting. For those in the compliance side, did it improve compliance? So maybe for our organization, because of our reporting, it was 50% compliance, but after the training, Yulia, sorry, can you hear me? Sarah is saying she's not hearing anything. Can you hear me, Yulia?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, thank you. Sarah, I guess it's your network. Sorry about that. Now, did it improve compliance? So, for instance, if the organization, the finance team were complying for just, thank you so much, Octavia, for just 50%. Now, after the training and from what they learned, their compliance level shot up and increased to 70%. So then there was an increase of 20%. So now, those are the things we are talking about. Or did everyone just had a break? Let's go for training. We had a break from our desk. We're tired to be in our desks, and so we went for training. So too often, the finance trainer, not just finance trainers assume, and even organization assume the results of training. But when you don't, so it's high time we stop assuming, because what we assume we can't defend. You don't assume that the training has made an impact. No, you should have data that is able to prove that the training had an impact in the business, because what you assume you cannot defend. And what you cannot defend, the business will not fund. I'll take that again. What you assume, you cannot defend. And what you cannot defend, the business will not fund it. Take that as free from me. They will not. I shared this in a webinar I went, and one of the CEO was telling me, no webinar, training. I was doing a training for CEOs, and the CEO told me that every training that now he has decided that, and that's what he's doing. Every employee he sends on training, he will do what? He will take it from their salary. You can imagine. But he knows why he's saying that. He said he has spent millions and millions on training that he cannot see any returns. There's nothing that's if they're just wasting his money. And so he decided that every employee he sends on training, he will take it from their salary, and he's doing it. I won't say if it is wrong or bad. Don't ask me that. I won't say that, but I know where it's coming from because I'm also working for an organization as the CEO of the organization. So let's move ahead. Now, what is ROI? So I'm going to look at ROI versus ROE. Please keep your questions. Just not have a jotter, just be noting down your questions because I know that there'll be so many questions. And so I want to go through the slides, and now we will sit down and take all those questions. Bring it on. Ask any question you want to ask, and let's be able to solve whatever challenges you may be having. So now we're going to look at ROI versus ROE. Don't forget, this is about finance training. And don't forget what I said, you can apply it in whichever training you're doing. Now, ROI and ROE are two lenses for proving the value of training. You cannot do ROI and leave ROE, or you say you do ROE and leave ROI. No, they work hand in hand. So if you want to prove your value in training, you must be able to show the ROI and the ROE. And that's why I call it two lenses for proving training value. So we're going to look at very quickly, we're going to look at the differences. What does ROI mean? What does ROE mean? The purpose of it, the questions that you ask, who cares about it? I'm sure some of you already are thinking, who cares more about what? So let's start. Let's look at this. Now, looking at the primary purpose for ROI, it shows the financial return of the training, what the organization gained in currency, whichever currency you're using. That's what ROI does. That's the primary purpose of ROI. Why the primary purpose of ROE? It shows whether the training met the leadership strategic goals and behavioral expectations. So for instance, if leadership says, I want my senior management to start using coaching skills, and they send the people, they send them on a training on coaching. And the essence is that when they come back, they want them to start using the coaching skills. So why do they want to start? So these are questions you start asking. Why do they want them to start using coaching skills? So these are questions to ask. Now, if they are able to achieve that, that is the ROE. Now, when it is converted into currencies, it dollars, naira, whichever you're using, rand, CDs, whatever is being converted into, that is now the ROI when you're able to prove that. Now, the key question ROI answers: did the training make or save us money? This is what ROI does. Did we make money? Did we save money? What does ROE say? Did the training meet the result our leaders were expecting? That's what ROE looks at. Did it meet the result our leaders were expecting? Now, who cares most about ROI? I'm sure you know, without even asking you. The CFOs, the finance director, the CEOs, and the board, they are looking at numbers. They say numbers, 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 numbers. But we cannot always look at numbers because they are also strategic intent for the organization, for the business. ROE most times is the department head, the line managers that want to see the ROE, right? Now, the focus area for ROI. ROI looks at cost savings, productivity increase, reduced errors, or income gains. What does ROE look at? ROE looks at increased trust, behavior shift, performance improvement, strategic alignment. These are things ROE looks at. Now, how do we measure? Okay, Abdul, I can see your hands up. If you don't mind, do you want to, is this something that you need clarification immediately? Okay, let me quickly listen to you because we wanted the questions to be towards the end, but I'm sure maybe for you to raise up your hands means maybe you have a clarification you need quickly. Yulia, do you want to help? Do you want to unmute his microphone? Also, I saw his hands up.
I don't see his microphone. I don't think his
Okay.
sound system is on.
Okay, okay. So
Abdul,
I
if
can
you
go on
can
then.
type in your question in the chat box instead.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Yulia.
Mhm.
So the measurement type, what does ROI measure? Quantitative. Of course, you should have known that return on investment is very quantitative. It measures the naira, the dollar, the euro, the pound, the cedis, the rands. That's what it measures. ROE is more qualitative. And measurements are through perceptions, through observation, through focus groups, through feedback. This is what ROE does. Now, so I came up with 10 areas. Let's look at the remaining part. The data source. How do you get data source? So ROI. Now, what I'm giving you is not an exhaustive list. Please take note. It's not an exhaustive list. I'm just giving some of the things. It's not an exhaustive list. Now, for data source, ROI gets their data from financial reports, audit report, the CBA, cost benefit analysis. Why ROE? Where do they get their data source from? Either from surveys, from interviews, from focus group, from stakeholder feedback, from 360 reviews. That's where they get feedback is gotten from. Like even when I think Dora, one of our IFC master trainer, did a webinar on 360 degree, I think 360 assessment or something like that. So that's also something we get reviews. You get your ROE data source data from. Then challenge in measurement. So what are the challenges in measuring ROI? One of the challenges in measuring ROI is it requires accurate baseline data. In order for you to evaluate post-training, you must be able to measure pre-training. Let me take that again. In order for you to be able to evaluate post-training, get data to evaluate for post-training, you must have a baseline data in pre-training. So even before the training has begun, you have to measure and get baseline data, which is what you're going to use to compare when you're evaluating post-training. So sometimes the challenging I've found from HR and L&D people is that they don't even know how to gather the right data. Their data, there was a company we worked with, their data was not even clean. They don't have clean data. And when you don't have clean data, it will mix your evaluation, your judgment when you're evaluating. So that's one of the challenges, trying to get accurate baseline data, trying to track it again. That's for ROI. For ROE, one of the challenges we find in measurement is that it requires clarity of expectations. Now, I'll give you a very simple example. A client reached out to me and they said to us they wanted me to train their staff on communication training. I said, what do you mean by communication training? Say yes now, so that the managers will be communicating well. I said, when you say communicating well, what do you mean by communicating well? She was like, they are not communicating with their direct report. So management needs them to communicate well. I said, I need to understand, when you say communicate well, what do you mean? The woman started getting angry. This was over the phone. Can you see? How can I go and measure communicating well? Please, what does communicating well mean? What does that mean? So it's not clear. So I kept digging, even though she was getting angry, getting uptight. You want me to do something? I kept digging. And we found at the end, she now said, well, then manage. So you have to be, trainers, L&D, HR, you must be a performance consultant. You must ask the right questions. So I asked her, I now said to her, okay, so when you say what exactly the issue is, we're able to come after like 30, 45 minutes, found out that the senior managers, when the C-suits, the CEOs from board members, they send reports to a report that they need cascaded to the junior ones, the line managers, to the junior ones. They don't do that immediately. And so with that, the work the junior ones are supposed to do, they are unable to do it. And next thing, they are doing firefighting, fire brigade approach and all that. I said, okay, great. So reports that management sends to senior managers, they need them to cascade it to their direct report. I said, within what time frame? She kept quiet. I said, yes, you need to be able to, if you want to evaluate it after the training, what are you going to? I said, within what time frame? She now said, okay, yes, she can remember now that they expect them, is in their policy, they expect them to do it within 48 hours. I said, can you understand? Can you see where I'm going to now? So meaning that after 40, any senior manager that does not cascade that report to their direct report on or before 48 hours, the manager has to answer to us. Why didn't you do that? Because your KPI was within 48 hours. So can you see what I'm trying to say now? So it may take time, but you have to do it. And when you know how to do it, it will become better. So requires clarity of expectations and the ability to capture this intangible outcome, just like what I just did now. Some people don't have the ability to capture it, and with that, measurement is a problem. Who cares most? Okay, we've spoken about that. The focus area: cost savings, productivity increase, reduce errors or income gains. For the ROE, increase trust, behavior shift, performance improvement, strategic alignment. Visibility to stakeholders. They like the stakeholders, it is very high. They want ROI because it is financial and easy to communicate. That's why they want ROI. If for stakeholders, ROE is like medium, unless the stakeholders are no. Like, I was reading something on LinkedIn, one of my colleague, and the CEO of that company was high on return on expectations, not even on return on investment. I had to repost the post he did, and I said, "This is what I'm saying. Well done." I said, "Please say well done to that CEO. I love what he's doing." But to stakeholders is on a medium level. It is strategic and often needs to be shown with stories or behavior shifts. So these are some of the differences between ROE and ROI, the two lenses. Now, I want us to look at how ROE sets up the stage for return on investment. How it sets up the stage. Now, if you are able to show ROE, invariably, and you do it sustainably, invariably, you will get ROI. You will get a return on your investment. Now, let's look at this. How does it do that? ROE, one of the ROE was increased trust from leadership. Now, what was the return? So this was what they did for the training. They were able to work on that, and senior managers stopped cross-checking every report and began delegating more confidently. What happened to the organization? They saved 2.5 million by end of Q2. And how did they do that? Based on this. You can see this is an ROE, but see what it has led to. It has led to ROI within Q2. It was able to help the organization to gain 2.5 million. So there was reduced duplicating effort, unnecessary checks. Those checks can cause delay, and timelines and deadlines you're supposed to meet, you don't meet. And over time, due to report delays, they were able to gain this. Now, another ROE, greater ownership mindset among finance staff. What happened? What was the ROI they gained from that? A 75% reduction in internal consultant costs. Now, let me quickly explain this. They used to employ external consultants. 10 in a month, they employed them for 10 days. Now, by the time they were able to do a training where they needed their people to have an ownership mindset, which was the ROE, right? At the end, they were able to reduce the days that the consultants were coming from 10 days to 7 days. Thereby, what did they do? With that, they were able to even reduce cost. A 75% reduction in the cost of they were paying the external consultant. Why now? Because people now took ownership. They were able to identify. And what does ownership mean? They were able to identify inefficiency, and they were able to propose corrective actions without being prompted. That's ownership. One of the ways to own something, you don't need your manager to tell you, do this, do that, do that. You do it on your own without being prompted. The next thing is better internal client satisfaction. What happened? Now, the finance, this is the finance department. This was where they were able to do. Their internal clients were happy, which is the other business units. Now, because they were able to receive reports on time, they were able to receive, sometimes finance, they will give us jargon. Financial jargon that you don't even know how to dissect and bisect. It will take you like 2 days to understand. But this finance department were able to what? Make the financial data easy to understand, which helped the business unit to be able to make quicker decisions and fewer delays. See what happened? They gained $125 in productivity gain by the end of Q2. So 5 business units collectively saved over 5,000 staff hours. Each staff hour was pegged at $25 per hour. Multiply that. That was how they got that. So if you do your ROE, you will invariably get ROI. That's what it is. The last but not the least is increased confidence in audits. What does that mean? Now, the external auditors spend less time questioning submissions due to clearer documentation. Before, External auditors will be coming, asking questions because the documentations were not clear. They'll ask questions. If you're supposed to spend 5 days, they'll spend 7 days. Why? It was the organization's fault. But when the management said, this is what we want to see, and they went on the training and did that, see what happened. $15,000 was saved. Audit duration reduced by 3 days, cutting external audit fees at $5,000 per day. This is not, I am not giving you, why am I going to put it? This is live and direct. This is, if you get it right, you will see ROI and ROE for every training you do. The most important thing is, how do you go about it? So let's move forward. Now, what is the problem? What do you think the problem is? I think let me stop here and look at the chat box. What do you think the real problem is? What is blocking your training from driving return on investment and return on expectation? Let me ask. So let me go to the other laptop and see. Please, you want to type into chat. What is blocking your training from driving ROI and ROE? What is the problem? What is the problem? Let me see. Please type into chat. What is the problem? What is blocking your training? Is it your finance training? Is it your leadership training? Is it your whichever training you're doing? What is blocking your training from driving ROI and ROE? Okay, what do we have in chat? Anybody typing into chat? We are together. Hope I'm not the only person here. Yulia, is it only just myself, yourself, and Anada here? Okay, I've seen something. I see the limited time given for follow-up after the training. Training is seen as taking people from their jobs. I love this. Who is this? Let me see the person. That is from Octavia. Yes, Octavia. So the limited time given for follow-up after the training. Training is seen as taking people away from their jobs for them to have vacation, to go and rest. Thank you so much, Octavia. Any other person? What is blocking your training from driving ROI and ROE? What is it? What is blocking your training? Let me give you 1 minute more before I continue. Lack of champions for collecting impact data post-workshop. Thank you for that. Let me see who said that. Okay, that is Awena. Awena says, okay, no, before that, I can see more things coming now. Okay. So Octavia, no, I've read Octavia. Awena says cost to time to lack of champions for collecting data. Yes. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. What else do we have there? Okay, I see Octavia again. We involved mid-management into the training outcome by asking them to evaluate the changes in the trainings. Okay. Okay. Shalika says higher management buy-in. Okay. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Then what else do we have here? Higher management buy-in. Then Malik said no enough clarity on goals of training. Thank you so much. Yes. Gwen says collection of post-training data. Also, Madina says maybe because the MSMEs think they can learn from internet or cost and even do not assume in their planning year activities. Measurement of the impact of training. Okay, please keep it coming. Owning and following up the agreed action plan. Yes, lack of baseline data, Adreno. Thank you, Leslie. So it's so much, I can't read it more. Please forgive me if I don't read yours. Please forgive me. I'm trying to manage my time so we can have time for questions, right? Don't forget I said I want us to have like 20 minutes for questions. Now, all you said are in line. It's as if you looked at my slide, and even some things that are not in my slide are in my head. I don't know if people looked into my brain to see, right? Because I cannot put everything. These are years of research and years of work. I cannot put everything in one webinar. Now, what is the problem? The real reason your training isn't being taken seriously, this is one. No measurement plan. So many people in finance training or whatever training you're delivering is delivered without a defined plan to measure its outcome. No measurement plan. There's nothing. We didn't even plan to measure. Just like what Octavia says, an opportunity to take people out of their desk to just let them have vacation. No stakeholder alignment. I heard you say that. No stakeholder alignment. So trainers often, they don't even clarify what do senior leaders want to see. What do they want to expect from the program? What's the outcome? What is the behavior change? This training that they are attending, what do we want to see them doing differently? What were they doing? What do we want to see them do differently? Do you have that alignment from stakeholders? Whoever, is it the CFOs or is it the line manager sent for the training? Do you have that? Okay, so keep it coming. I can see things that are coming. We'll talk about that. Then another thing again is no follow-up after training. No follow-up after training. There's no support. The training is over and we all go back. Now, take notes. What you don't measure, you can't prove. And what you can't prove, you cannot protect. I'll take that again. What you don't measure, you cannot prove. And what you cannot prove, you cannot protect. And that is why they will come and cut your budget. And that is why when they are looking for money, they go to training department. And that is why they would not allow you to come and train again, because even though they did not allow you to show the value, they would not call you back because they will say you did not train their staff well. I will give the story if there's time to give you the story when I stopped any organization that doesn't want me to show ROI and ROE for their training initiative. I don't work for them. I'll give you the story if there's time. If not, we'll leave it for any other day. So these are the proven tools to your rescue. These are the tools to your rescue. I've already told you about them. I'm going to show you 3 tools to your rescue. 2 frameworks, 1 model. I'm sure some of you have heard about this. You've heard about the New World Kirkpatrick model? Yeah. Kirkpatrick model. You know, we started with Kirkpatrick model before Jim and his wife. Now, what's that word? We not reinvented. I wanted to use the right. I can't get the right adjective now. So now they did it better and became known as the New World Kirkpatrick model. If you're a trainer, you're an HR person, you're an L&D person, you're a trainer, and you don't know about the Kirkpatrick model for evaluation, you've not started. You've not started at all. And this is and this was what I was talking about when I was seeing the things I was seeing on the chart. Level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. What does that mean? I now have a clear structure to evaluate training step by step. Please, there are other evaluation models. Yeah, I said that before. I'm sharing with you what I've used and what has been tested and trusted. That is what I'm sharing with you, what I use. So with that, you have a clear structure to evaluate training step by step. Level 1. Level 1 is all about the reaction, the engagement. Did they find it useful? Were they happy? How was the food? How was the venue? Satisfaction? Was it relevant? That is when you do 0, they do 1 to 5. They are scoring 4.5 over 5. We don't have time. That is what we call level 1. That is where participants, it cannot move the dial. The participant will tell you the session was practical, it was related to what I wanted to do. That's fine. And it ends there. Level 2, which is knowledge. We call it did they actually learn? Now, they were able to bring level 2 to KSACC. Did they have the knowledge, the skills? Were they able to, from what they've learned, are they committed? Do they have the confidence and attitude to put it? So it's just like, let me give an example. 80%, maybe an IFRSC training, and 80% of the participants were able to correctly explain the IFRSC compliance rules in the post-test. That's knowledge. Will knowledge give you the ROI and ROE you need? We want you to move away from L1 and L2. Now go to L3. L3 is behavior application. Are they applying it? So maybe 2 weeks after the post training or 4 weeks after the post training, that reporting template, they are using it. And because of they are using that template, there's fewer errors. They are applying it. But we don't want you to even stop there. We go to level 4. Is it creating that result we want to see? That strategic intent, that strategic impact, that business impact. From all this thing they've gone for the training, we found that in Q2, that monthly errors dropped by 40%. And because of that, the business was able to reach its goal. Maybe audit readiness. They were to get ready was like 50%. They were not ready. But within the training, after the training, 70% audit readiness. So we are talking about level 4, level 3 and level 4. So if you are still in level 1 and level 2, you've not started, you must move to level 3 and level 4, because that is where state management is looking at. That is where the CEOs, the board are looking at. They're not looking at how good was the training, how interesting was it, did they have the knowledge, did they pass it 5%? No, you have to go higher than that. If you stop at level 1 or level 2, you are telling a training story. Take note of that. You're telling a what? A training story. But if you get to level 3 and level 4, you are telling a business story. How many people want to tell a business story? How many people would love to tell a business story? That is where we want you. That is where you should be going to. So let's move ahead. Last in February, I talked about the 12 levers of transfer effectiveness. So I'm going to just take only 4 out of this based on what we are looking at today. I've already spoken about it. Now, the 12 levers of transfer effectiveness looks at how you're able to transfer that training. The transfer application looked at the trainees, the training design, the organization, and each of this is made into 12. This was Ina. Ina did a research of over 100 years research and was able to, 100 things was able to come down to this 12. I am a faithful follower of the Institute for Transfer Effectiveness. I'm even one of their transfer enabler for Africa. I'm using 12 levers. Yes, I used it on my client. I used it on my clients. It has helped me. So what the models I'm showing you are what we are using consecutively, and it is helping us to help our clients to get return on investment and return on expectation. Now we're going to focus on just this 4 for the finance training. Clarity of expectations. Were they able to define success with the trainings and the managers? Were they able to get that clarification? Opportunity for application. We see people that go for training, they come back to the organization, they cannot apply it. You send someone on Python training, you send someone on programming, the person comes back, the person doesn't have the opportunity to build the Python or even to use the programming. You've just wasted time. So you must intentionally create opportunities that they will apply what they're going to learn. Manager support. Are managers ready to support them? Are they ready to reinforce learning? You must start that at the beginning. And last but not the least, transfer motivation. Do the people feel that the trainees, those that are going to go for the training, do they have that strong desire that after this training, whatever it is I'm going to learn out of this training, I will implement it? Some people, they are waiting for the training to be over and let them go back and rest or spend their money. Some go for training and they go for shopping. Is that what is happening? This is the 12 levers. So these are the 2 frameworks. The Kirkpatrick 4 levels of evaluation, which I've just shown you. This is another framework, the 12 levers of transfer effectiveness by Dr. Ina Webuyan. Then the last one I'm going to share with you, which we use, is a model. And it's called the PDP model. And I'm proud to say that this is a model I designed that was created by me. We've used with the organization we are using, and it is working. This was years of research, over 10 years and more. I did not reinvent the wheel. I just used the built on the models, the frameworks I've seen, and the challenges of the clients we've worked with over the years. And we came up with this model. And the PDP model is called the pre-training, during training, post-training transfer effectiveness model. Now, in training, there are 3 phases of training: pre-training, during training, and post-training. What we found out is that a lot of organizations do more of during training. They don't do pre-training, which is planning the training even before they go for training. And some do not even do post. Few do post. And even when they are doing post, their post is not accurate. Why? Because their post is not, the data is not accurate because they did not do pre. So you can imagine you did not do so. I found that a lot of L&Ds, they don't like M&E, measurement and evaluation. If you're a trainer, you're an L&D person, you're a professional, you must love measurement and evaluation. Please, you must. I didn't say you should have a doctorate in it, but you must love, because you have to make use of it. Now, and someone that did not do pre, you did not get baseline data. How do you want to now evaluate? How do you want to now evaluate in post training? But what I found out that from my research, even if is difficult to because you don't have a baseline data, how do you want to evaluate? I was able to, I told you, I used to say, when you stop learning, you stop dying. I will tell you to get a book on, it's called Measurement and Evaluation on a Shoestring. It's by Alina Sislakta. I got the book I'm in Lagos, Nigeria. Bought the book from Amazon in the US, and they delivered it to me last year. And I was able, through what I'd read from her, I found that even if you did not do, maybe organizations that did not do baseline data, you can still show evaluation, just that you have to walk back. Now you have to find out, now, why do you want to now measure this? What did you want to see before? So do you see what you are doing? You are walking back to try to see, can you get data? Okay, I'm going to give you the name, Gwen. Can you get data based on what they are saying, and see if you can walk back and see data on that, even though you did not get the baseline data? Okay, the book is, Julia, if you can help me to type, that would be very wonderful. Thank you. It's called Measurement and Evaluation on a Shoestring. Measurement and Evaluation on a Shoestring by Alina Sislakta, PhD. Sislakta is SZLACHTA. SZLACHTA. Okay, so that's so you need to read books on. I have so many books I read on measurement and evaluation, because you need to find out. Let me tell you, there are over 50 ways to measure and evaluate training. Yes, over 50 ways, but find out what works for you. And I found out what works for me and my clients, and that's what I'm using. I cannot use 50 ways of measurement and evaluation. No, I found out what works for me. So the PDP model does what? It tells you that for you to see ROI and ROE, you must ensure that the pre is done well. Before the training begins, you're having conversation with this. Thank you so much, Julia. You're having conversations with the stakeholders. You're having alignment meeting. You're having performance meetings. You're having expectation setting. You're collecting baseline data. You're ensuring that the trainees that will go for the for the training, they are ready mentally, emotionally, stable. They are ready for that training. You are communicating the plan to them. You're finding out from them and letting them know what the training is going to entail. This is pre. What you want to see after the training, you must design it at the pre-stage. If you cannot design it, then you're going to have a problem when you get to the post-stage. Then the during phase is talking about what at every training you're going to do. Ensure you give case studies, simulations, role plays, gamifications that has to do with the challenges that people are having in the workplace. Do not go and manufacture something else. From their challenges, create simulations, create case studies, create gamifications for that. With that, they're able to, what's that word? Reflect, because we've done that. I'm talking out of experience. And people are saying, how? I can see myself in this case study. How do you know? I said, I don't know. We just used your problems to see case study. And they'll be calling themselves, oh, that's Julia, that's Anna, that's Sandra, that's Gwen. But I don't know them. We don't know them. But because we are able to design the during phase well, then the last phase, which is the post phase, ensure that line managers will agree that there will be support, such as coaching, such as job aids, such as reinforcement tools, such as a great climate. They should not make the climate toxic. They should be able to collect data to be able to evaluate and show impact. These are things PDP model does, and you must follow this like this. So from training to transformation, you apply the PDP model to your finance training. If you don't plan to transfer, you are planning to scrap. That is what I said, and I'll keep saying it. If you don't plan intentionally, deliberately to transfer, you're planning to have training scrap, to waste, have waste. Scrap means waste. Waste your government management money and waste the client's money for those that are working for clients. Okay, we are wrapping up now because I want to give time for questions. Now, I want to create a report that speaks to management. So I'm going to give you, I used one because of time. I just used one from what the ROE and ROI I shared with you to create a report. So I'm sure you can see this report. So the finance training impact report. Don't forget, I'm talking about finance training. That's why I use that. Return on expectations, increase trust. The CFO now delegates reporting tasks without rechecking. There's greater ownership mindset. Staff identify and resolve problems independently. Better internal client satisfaction. Business units receive faster, clearer responses to financial queries. That's their return on expectation after the training. Now, this is the ROI after the training. $120,000 in annual savings, reduced overtime after implementing a streamlined monthly reporting process. $15,000 saved on audit duration, shortened by 3 days, reducing consultancy fees. And these were the comments by those that did the training. They said on-time reporting has eliminated the need for weekend work, significantly boosting team morale. Stakeholders have commended finance for more accurate and timely insights. This result illustrates the strong impact of finance training on operational efficiency and financial outcomes. You don't need a 15-pager or 5-pager. Just a 1-pager is okay to show the impact. You show the ROI, you show the ROE, and you drop your comments. Which board and CEO will not want to have this kind of report from you? Your training value is not in the slides. It is in the shift it produces. If your report doesn't show results, you are just telling stories. Show proof, show value. If your report doesn't show results, you are just telling stories. So show proof and show value. That is my that is my quote. And so these are the post-webinar tools proving the impact of finance training. I'm going to be sharing these tools with you. Start proving your impact. Tools to help you to begin now. These are various tools I've come up with. ROI and ROE planning template for finance training. You can also use it for non-finance training. The PDP implementation checklist. The one-page training impact report templates. The stakeholder feedback template. There are so many other tools, but these are some of the tools that can help you to start. And if you want it, you can request for any of them by connecting with me on LinkedIn. So that's my LinkedIn. You can take a snapshot of that. That's my LinkedIn ID. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Then after connecting with me on LinkedIn, send me an email at that email address and tell me which of the tools you want. If you want all of them, will send all of them to you. If you want just one, you want just two, whichever you want. Just so first connect with me on LinkedIn, then send me an email at sandra@mbrandconsultinggroup.com and you will get these tools. I'll send the tools to you. You're welcome, Madina. Thank you. You're welcome. Training gets respect when it gets results. If it doesn't have results, they will not respect training. And that's why they will always be. That's why HR, a lot of you don't have chair. For HR, the HR in our midst, you don't have any chair at the table. There's no space for you. There's no space at all. Even the L&D, there's no space for you people. Then for we, the trainers in our midst, you're welcome, Gwen. Then even the trainers in our midst, you need to know your onion so that you'll be the one to be dictating. Organizations will not be throwing you up and down. Organizations, thank you so much, Octavia. Thank you so much. Organizations will not be tossing you up and down. You'll be the one to talk. I'm not trying to boast. Please pardon me if I sound as if I'm boasting. I'm not trying to boast, but organizations know my words. And so when I tell them this, they listen. I kind of dictate because they know that I'm coming there. I'm not coming there for their money. I don't need your money. I'm an impact person. I'm coming to add value to your business. I'm coming for your own good. So that's what it is. So please, when your training gets respect, when it gets result. Thank you so much, everyone. I can see your thank you. I just want to wrap up so that we can take questions. I can see your thank yous. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for appreciating me. Thank you. Stop focusing on the event. Start designing for the evidence. Stop focusing on the event. Start designing what? For the evidence. Let your design show that evidence that there's return on investment, return on expectation for that training. And last but not the least, I would like to share this. This is called the Mastermind Program. So first of all, I want to thank you so much for spending time with me because we're wrapping up now so I can take questions. I promised you that we're going to have enough time for questions. Thank you for spending this time with me. I hope you leave it more than ideas. I don't want you to just leave with ideas. I know you're thanking me. Don't just thank me. Ensure you're living with something that when you go, you start applying. Please. I'm more of an application person, impact person. If you thank me and you go back, you don't use it, it would have been a waste of time for me. Please. So I hope that you leave with more ideas. I want you, not just ideas, I want you to leave with a mandate to prove the value of every training you do. And so if you're interested, you're very serious about leading this shift in your organization, then this mastermind program is for you. It's an 18 weeks program where we are not going to, it's an online program which I'm starting July 2nd for trainers and directors of HR, directors of L&D, those that want to show return on investment and return on expectations for every training initiative. We're going to have a capstone project which I'll take you step by step for the next 18 weeks to show you how you would show return on investment and return on expectations. We don't theorize, we implement, we track, we show results. So feel free to connect with me or nominate somebody that will attend it. So we're accepting nominations. The mastermind program, proving return on investment, return on expectation for training, 18 weeks, hands-on, outcome-driven, learn the MVP and PDP models directly from the Oracle, limited seats, high impact, is transformational. Send me an email, connect to me on LinkedIn if you're ready to, if you're interested in joining the program. And I end by saying, training is not a cost to justify, it is a lever to activate. I'll take that again. Training is not a cost to justify, it's a lever to activate. When we design for transfer, we don't just deliver learning, we deliver results. Are you ready to start delivering results for your clients, for your business, for your organizations? This is by me, Sandra the Oracle, Africa's leading voice on training transfer effectiveness. What action plan are you going to do? What will be your next line of action? Okay, now let me go, because now we're going into questions. So let me go and check your messages now. What is your next line of action? Okay, Leslie said top management has to embrace the process and insist on the quantitative results and the qualitative results. Yes, Leslie, I agree with you. What will be your next line of action? Please type into chat. When you've done that, then as you're typing in that, let me just read a few things. Like Adreno said lack of baseline data. Yes, Adreno, yes. So what would be your next line of action? Nigato says expectations may be different from the training. From the training, maybe assessment not done before the training. Yeah, yes. That's why I told you about the book I was reading, and I was able to get that from that. Even if baseline data was not done, you can also do a bit of evaluation. You can come up with something. Okay, I have a question from Nana. Okay, before I read Nana's question, what will be your next line of action? Please let me know your next line of action. I want to go to where we have questions. Yes, so ask the oracle. So Q&A. Your turn. It's now your turn. Let us talk. Return on investment, return on expectation, and real impact. Let us ask questions. Now, ask your questions. So let me read Nana's. Nana says, what happens if the client is unwilling to pay for your time and services for follow-up and fast? Okay, wait. It's coming. I'm reading. Okay. Julia, if you can see that, please, can you read it for me again? I think I've just, a message came and it just went too fast. Nana asked a question about what happens if your client, I was reading it. I can't see it again.
Let me see. What happens if the client is unwilling to pay for your time and services for follow-up and facilitation at levels 3 and 4 after the training?
Great. So Nana, okay, you're making me to share that story now. Nana, once upon a time, I was at a place whereby any training the client tells me to come for, I do it. Because I needed to pay bills. I'm a mother of 5 children. Yeah. I'm a Nigerian African woman. Now, for Africans, what it is. We are taking care of this brother, this sister, this family member, and all that. We have family members we take care of. And so, trainings, I accept them. Any training, I accept. Any training, I accept. But the young shall grow. You cannot keep drinking milk. You start eating solid food, then you start even chewing bone. And so I'm at the place where, and that's why I am advocating and reaching out to people that may have gotten to this level and understanding to also help other people. I'm at the place whereby if an organization is not ready to show ROI and ROE, if they are not ready to do level 3 and level 4, I will not work with them. It's a choice. I will not work with you. And I've given out a lot of businesses this year. When they come to me and I tell them about showing return on investment, they say, and I say, okay, please, if do you want me to give you somebody's name that can help you out? They say, yes. I say, they will first say, I want you to. I say, I cannot work with you. You don't want what? You don't want returns. You don't want to see returns. So you will stress me and I will stress you. So do you want me to give you other people? And grudgingly they say yes, and I give them. So they have to just want it, because if not, they will frustrate your work. So what we are doing now, what I'm doing now, and that's why I'm reaching out to a lot of people. If you check on LinkedIn, I'm saying people, this is a community, come out and help. So what I'm doing is going to different African countries, because I'm more interested in Africa now, different African countries, creating that awareness. I'm going to be having a CEO summit with CEOs too, to tell them about this. Some CEOs, they've been burnt and they are feeling difficult. I'm a CEO, so I understand what they are going through. But we need to go past that and see that these things can happen. So if they are not ready to show you level 3 and level 5, you feel that you want to still work with them without them showing that, it's a choice. That's okay. But for me, I wouldn't work with them, and I don't work with them again. I don't know. I hope that answers your question. Okay, so please, let's see. Yulia, are there more questions? Please type in your questions. That's why I finished on time.
How to ensure that there is ROI in a context where training is not seen as investment?
Sorry, Yulia, do you want to take that again? I'm sorry.
How to ensure that there is ROI in a context where training is not seen as investment?
Now, how do you show there's ROI before you even start the training, before the conversation starts? You're already talking about ROI and ROE. You cannot talk about it after the training or during the training, when that conversation, the first conversation. So I will give you a clear example again. I love examples because it happened is live. A client reached out to us in January and said she wanted us to train her staff on 5 areas. She talked of the 5 areas she wanted us to train her staff on. And we told her that we will need to do a needs validation process first to find out if these 5 performance areas are a training intervention or a non-training intervention. And she said, after, is she going to pay for that? I said, yes, you're going to pay for that. She said that she doesn't want to pay. How can she pay for that? And after that, she'll pay for training. I said, well, it is a process, because all these 5 things you're saying to us are performance issues. They may not be all training issues. Some may be training issues. Some may not be training issues, or it may even be a mixture, a hybrid of both training intervention and non-training intervention. So, but because we're highly recommended, she decided to go with us. After we did the needs validation process model, which is one of the models I designed, we found out of those 5 performance issues, only 2 were training intervention. As I'm talking to you now, the woman is doing the non-training time. She didn't call me. She didn't call us again. So I said, did I shoot myself on the foot and I lost business? No, I didn't lose business. I did the right thing. Training interventions. And I told her, you don't need to call us. You can do this. You and your staff can do this on your own. But if you feel that want us to come and hold you, we'll be free to do it. But I'm saying you don't need to pay us that money. You can do it on your own. So it's not more about the money for me, right? So out of those 5 things, only 2 were training interventions, 3 were non-training interventions that they could work on. And they worked on it on themselves. They didn't call us. We didn't have that business. So everything starts from the conversation. So this was the needs validation process. Now, after that, those 2 training interventions, you now sit down with them and start designing. That is where you use the PDP model I told you about. You have to design based on pre, during, and post. You have that conversation. What do you want to see from the sponsors, the training sponsors, the people that will attend the training? You must meet with them to find out, what do you want to see? What is the outcome? Why are you having this training? What will you see and say, yes, this training has happened? The design starts at the pre-phase, not at the during phase, not at the post phase. You want to see ROI and ROE, start from the pre-training phase and design everything you want to see at the during phase and the post phase. I hope that helps you I hope that answers your question. The person that asked the question, please feel free to type into chat. I hope it answers your question. Okay, Octavia says, thank you. I took a lot away. It reminded me how important the bottom line is for. Yes, it is very important, Octavia. It is for management. It is very, very important for management. Okay, is there any other question, Yulia? I'm just saying, very good session. Thank you, Gimono. Thank you.
Yes, I see a few more questions.
Please,
How do you
yes.
ensure a client pays not just for the training delivery, but also the impact PDP activities? That's from Avina.
Okay, do you want to take that again? Just slow down when you're taking that. Sorry, Yulia.
Okay.
Do you want to take that again? Yes. Okay, I've seen it. So how do you ensure client pays not just for the training delivery, but also the impact PDP activities? Great. Thank you, Awina. It is right from the conversation. From the conversation. You start the conversation. When people have started the conversation, let them know that you're not just coming to tick a box, just to train. You know, some people, let me shock you. No, I don't think I will shock you. I'm sure you know. This happens in Nigeria. I'm sure okay, someone told me in Ghana it happens. I'm sure it happens in all countries, whereby organizations will just tell you, come and train. And you want to tell them, we need to ensure your staff will say, don't worry, your staff will be able to apply. I say, don't worry about yourself, about that. Just come and train. We'll pay you. They'll just say, come and train, we'll pay you. You know, so you have such situations. A lot happens even in the public sector. They will give you millions of dollars and just they don't even need you to don't show ROI, don't show ROE. They're not ready for all those stories. Just train and pay. And there are people that are doing that, but I don't do that and I will not do it. So the conversation starts the from the very first discussion you're having with them. You're telling them this is what I will do. This is the essence of what I'm going to do. And when you're going to build them, you build them based on that. And be transparent. Let them know what this entails, what this entails. That's what you're building them on. That's just what it is. That's how it has to this comes with your with how you build now. What I call, I'm trying to remember the word I use. I can't remember. But I hope that helps you, Awina. So you build it in right from the start goal. When you're having that conversation, you build in any cost you need to put in there. You build it in there. Because these are the activities you will follow. You let them know, phase one, this is what we do. Phase two, this is what we do. We do pre-training, we do during training, we do post-training. So these are the three phases you do in training. These are the three phases of training: pre-training, during training, and post-training. A lot of people just do only during training. They don't do pre. They'll tell you, don't bother about pre, don't bother about post. Just come and do during. Just come and train. It's a choice. I don't just come and train. I do the whole package. I'll do pre, I'll do during, and I'll do post. I don't know. I hope that helps you, Awina.
Avina says, yes, thank you. There are a few more questions.
Okay.
There is a question from Rakib Udin. He's asking, is there any specific matrix for calculation?
When you say okay, so if you can, when you say specific metrics for calculating what? Like I showed him okay, I didn't show you. So there's some for the for for the finance people, there are some metrics they use, which is that helps to calculate ROI. There are some metrics you use, like reduction in errors rates and all that. So depending on what what area, what kind of training you are doing, you can use those metrics. So it's based on every training. There's no what's that word? There's no, I'm trying to get the right word. There's no, this is the templates ahead. This is what you use for every training. No. So for like finance training, there are errors rates, which you use for the KPIs, errors rate, percentage of compliance. So based on the training you're doing, you come up with the matrix you use to be able to what? Measure and evaluate at the end. Don't come up with a KPI you will struggle to, some like giving themselves unnecessary problem, struggle to measure and struggle to evaluate. Measuring and evaluating is a very easy life. We are the ones that try to give ourselves unnecessary stress by going to look for use KPIs that are so complex. There are KPIs that you can use that are very easy to measure and to evaluate. I don't know. I hope that helps you.
There is another question from Ahmed Zamir. He's asking, in which situations would you choose to use ROI and ROE?
I would say use it in every situation, starting with ROE. ROE will always give you ROI. You saw the example I gave you. Yulia is going to share my slides with you. Just go through it after that. You saw the examples I gave you. The ROE prepares the ROI. Because sometimes, now let me tell you, in ROI and ROE, we have what we call short-term returns, midterms. I told because of time, I cannot tell you everything in one 1 hour, 30 minutes, 1 hour, 20 minutes webinar. It's not possible. We have what we call short-term returns, medium-term returns, and long-term returns. Now, there are some training you will go for that you would not see the returns until the long term. So in designing, you should be able to say, this training, we are going to see short-term returns, as an hypothesize. I don't know if I got that word. So hypothesis, say, we can see this is a short-term returns we'll be expecting from this. The ROI we'll be expecting and the ROE. ROE is more of expectations, management expectations. Then by that, you now design the behaviors. If, for instance, management said we want our people to be able to delegate more or want them to be able to coach, these are management expectations. Now, which is the ROE. Now, you should be able to design behaviors that will be able to speak to that management expectation. So please, at every point in time, ensure you are aiming for ROE and ROI. A lot of organizations, let me say, no, most, a lot of organizations are looking at the numbers. ROI is more of, it's numbers, quantitative, I told you, is numbers. We've seen organizations that have gotten their ROI and yet they are having issues. Toxic environment, they are making the money, they are getting the returns. High rate of a lot of people are high rate of turnover. A lot of people are leaving the organization. Now let me share I don't know if I have enough time to share. Let me share something. I was teaching a senior class, senior managers, and some of them were executive directors, and they shared with me. They said the CEO they had before the new one they had. The CEO was they were hitting their target. They were even superseding their target, but people were exiting. People were leaving the organizations. People were unhappy. But you know that people are unhappy and yet they stay in that organization because they need to pay bills. It was a toxic environment. People were being insulted. People were being shouted at. Now, when the new CEO came, so there was no management wanted the behaviors they wanted to see whereby there's no toxic environment. They could not have it, but they were having ROI. They were hitting their target, return on investment high. Now, when the new CEO came in, things turned around. They were still meeting their target, even exceeding what they were meeting when the former CEO was. And yet the organization was less people were exiting. The numbers reduced. The turnover reduced. And people were happy coming to work. People wanted to still stay in the organization, still stay in the business. So invariably, and that example they gave me drove on what I've been saying. I said, if you have ROE, watch out. ROI will come after ROE. But if you aim for only ROI, you will not get ROE. And your organization will be an organization whereby you're going to have a high rate of turnover. And some people don't care. I've heard the CEOs say they don't care that there's always job. People should leave. I hope that one day they don't everyone just starts up one day and everyone resigns on one day. You see what happens. I hope that answers your question, the person that asked the question.
Okay, we have a few more questions coming in. From Mohammed Ismail, your ROI is good, but RWA is high. Do you go for new investment?
Take that again. So the RI is good. Then
but
the what, please?
RWA is high.
Please, can you tell me what does RWA, that's RWA, what does that mean? What does that stand for? What does that initial stand for, please? Can
Okay.
does he want to type it in or she type it? I don't know who asked the question. Do you want to type in or do you want
Okay.
to mute?
Let's take a next question while they are
Okay.
typing.
Okay.
It says risk weight asset. Risk weight asset is high. So your ROI is good, but risk weight asset is high. Do you go for a new investment?
So what you're asking now is finance based. That's the question he's asking, a finance based. I'm not a finance person, right? So I can't answer that question. I'm a trainer that is working on showing organizations they should show return on investment, return on expectation for their training. So I'm not really a finance person. So I'm sorry I can't answer that question. But if there's anybody here that can answer it, that would be nice. So I won't say what I cannot do. So if there's anybody that can answer, that would be nice. That has nothing to do with what I'm teaching. So I won't be able to answer it. I hope you don't mind. I'm so sorry. It has nothing to do with what I'm teaching. I'm sorry.
Okay, there is one more question from Sanai Abdi. Some organizations believe that ROI and ROE is only applicable with deep and statistical calculations with all-rounded data of the training and involving different department stakeholders. But we can assess and identify the third level training impact. This will not show us the ROE and ROI. What is your concern on such conclusion?
Now, what I've come to see is every every returns is not the same. That's every measurement is not the same. You cannot measure all training on level 3 and level 4. Yeah, that would be waste of time. There are some trainings that you don't need to go as high as level 4. You don't need that. Maybe a training that was just on knowledge based. They were sent on that training to have the knowledge about it, or they were sent to be able to have that skill and start making use of a machine, using the machine. That's still knowledge, right? That's level 2, level 1 and level 2. You don't need to start trying to evaluate on level 3 and level 4. You don't need to do that. So based on that, so you need to find out on what level of measurement are we looking at? What kind of training are we looking at? And should we be measuring doing level 1, level 2, or should we just do level 3 and level 4? That would also guide you in knowing what we should show. And again, what I've also found that again is sometimes level 3, if you do not design well from the beginning, by the job aids you want to use, the tools that will be used, the tools that will be used, if you don't do it, level 3 will not show. It will not show. It's not science fiction. It will not, because they don't know what to show. It will not show. And even when it is showing, you will not know because you did not design it right from the beginning. I hope that helps you.
Okay, let's take the last question from Mohammad Ismail. Is there any international methodology for best use of capital which ensure good ROE?
You want to take that again? Is there international?
Is
Take
there
that again.
any international methodology for best use of capital which ensure good ROE?
No. When you say international best methodology, just like I told you, there are various methodologies to use. More than 50. Go and research. I've researched. You can even get up to 70 to 100. Use what works for you. What works for me and my clients is the ones that I'm using now. And sometimes I use Robert Brinkerhoff's own, the SCM, I'm sure if you know Robert Brinkerhoff, you know he's also the godfather of evaluation, the SCM. So use what works for you. So these three I've just told you that I shared with you today is what works for me, and that's what I use. So there's no hard and fast to say this is what you use. So check out all the models, the frameworks, the methodology. Check out all of them and find out what will work for you, your business, your clients, and your organization, and use it, but just use it well. I hope that answers your question. That helps you. I think I can put on my video now. At least my network could not be that bad again.
Thank you, everybody.
You're welcome, Mohammed.
I suggest that everybody tunes in September to continue this conversation with Sandra. And please give us the feedback, what you think of the webinar. Thank you. Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you, everyone. And take good care of yourselves. Bye.